want to see a movie of this guy so bad. Today, we're going to be watching the story of Kony2012. I don't even know what Kony is. With this being internet historian, I'm assuming it's going to be a play on words, kind of like how cons are usually a play on words, like A-con, which is anime convention or something. So Kony's probably going to be like the Tonys for cringe. You know, something crazy like that.
So confirmed Santa's #1 helper is a squirrel.
I would really prefer if you would be quiet.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't know what Kony is. So, well, I'm sure I'm gonna find out from this video. So let's roll it. That's a lot of words. Please behave yourself. The future of the world is burnt.
Kony2012 is the story of a man, Jason Russell, and his relentless quest to stop Ugandan warlord Joseph Kony. Let's begin with the action start.
Okay.
On March 5th, 2012, a charity called Invisible Children published a high-production video called Kony2012. It was an awareness campaign seeking to mobilize action to capture or kill Ugandan warlord Joseph Kony.
And the goal of the story was to make Kony famous.
30 minutes long,
Okay.
it really tried to pull at your heartstrings.
At the end of my life, I want to say that the world we've left behind is one that Gavin can be proud of. A place that doesn't allow Joseph Konys and child soldiers.
I don't understand this
And look,
violinist.
Gavin would have been proud, because it took off like no video on YouTube ever had.
We wanted 500,000 views in the whole year of 2012.
Me
We
too.
got 500,000 views in the first 3 hours.
It received 100 million views in the first 6 days, 1.4 million likes. Click that link in the description below. They clicked it so hard the website went down, and their email
What?
was so inundated that the service provider assumed it was an attack and temporarily pulled the plug. The Times named it the most viral video ever. It raised the charity over $20 million. People really went fucking bananas for this video and those Ugandan kids. 4 million hashtags. People changed their Facebook profiles, so you knew it was a big deal.
I guess I wasn't paying
A fan-made
attention.
mobile game. Are you woke about Joseph Kony? Yeah, but are you woke enough to get a tattoo?
Y'all weird.
People were up for pretty much anything to stop Kony, as long as it didn't involve any practical action. One like.
It looks like it was one
safe
demographic doing that there, that
Who is
audience.
Joseph Kony and what's all the fuss? Well, he's the leader of the Lord's Resistance Army, LRA.
My God, you're crazy.
And he really is one of the most evil people living today. Imagine the worst crime you can think of committing, and he'll have done it thousands of times over.
Oh,
Takes children, makes them kill their parents and eat their parents.
what? Does he really?
Surviving girls would be
I feel
kept
like,
as sex
is that really what he
slaves and
did?
boys conscripted into the LRA as child soldiers.
I know, it's kind of a bummer.
It's all part of a civil conflict that's been going on for 30 years.
Civilization
We'll
games?
get into the details later, but for now, consider this our one-dimensional bad guy. And here's our protagonist, Jason Russell, the figurehead of Kony2012 and Invisible Children. He's a devout
I don't like his blonde hair.
stereotypical
Did not work well with
Californian,
him.
I do consider myself a refined valley Jew.
but he has a bad boy side too. So it all starts in 2003 when, as a naive and aspiring filmmaker, he goes to Uganda with 2 friends in search of a story.
Uganda.
While driving through a rural village,
A car was shot in front of us by a rebel army who was led by a guy named Joseph Kony.
they drive to a city for safety and find this. Turns out it's part of a nightly routine. Kids live in the villages, but commute to the city to sleep there to avoid being kidnapped in midnight raids by the LRA.
What?
Thousands and thousands of kids without an adult in sight.
Jason had found his story. And a cause. It must have made a real impression on him, because for the next 10 years he dedicated himself almost exclusively to trying to improve things in Uganda and stop Kony. Kony2012 was the culmination, but in the preceding years he tried a bunch of other schemes. This,
Schemes?
Campaign.
this,
White's daily broadcast about where the LRA is and where they're active.
and this.
Do what we always do. Dance.
What?
This is all real.
Please tell me that's what he used to advertise Kony.
mind. It needs attention and attention to make it sparkle and shine.
This is like High School Musical, except if they were trying to save kids.
Naturally, questions have been raised about his sexual orientation.
All these other rumors too that you were gay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard those rumors.
Yeah.
No denial.
A large children's theater organization, so I am
Theatrical.
theatrical.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Straight men are allowed to enjoy musicals its current year. Back to
Yeah,
2020.
I'm straight and I like musicals, so I agree.
Called Cover the Night. Here's what you do. Pay $30 for your super special Kony action kit. Whoa, that's nice. In the kit you'll find 5 items. Button, bracelet, stickers, shirt, and these posters.
I want that Kony bracelet, by
On
the way.
April 20th, in the dead of night, go out and vandalize your town with awareness.
And wake up to hundreds of thousands of posters demanding justice on every corner.
It was going to be amazing. Everyone was on board. The countdown to April 20th had begun, and all Jason and Co had to
April
do
20th? That's 420.
and not
Also Hitler's birthday.
up.
I did not know that.
The new way to move the world to action.
But this movie is not without critics.
Critics say the film manipulates the facts.
Simplifying the story. Oversimplifying
Ooh.
a wildly complex issue.
Joseph Kony and his forces have been significantly reduced.
Pro-war activism. Utterly naive. By next week, this will be a passing
These
fad.
white Westerners sort of getting on a bandwagon and actually they haven't got a clue what they're talking about.
A day or two later, the heady excitement gave way to more down-to-earth analysis. Media commentators started making scathing critiques of the video, and testimony from Uganda wasn't entirely positive either.
I like how there's this countdown going on to the. I keep on looking at this countdown on the right.
Merchandising, but using people's problems.
Then it got really serious. Teenage girls started weighing in.
Kony, so I asked my mom, and my mom laughs and goes, he died like 5 years ago.
This is wrong, by the way, but it was seen by 4 million people. From a source of "my mum said it, so it must be true."
My mom.
Slacktivism started cropping up more and more. Legitimate questions were asked. How will the
Oh, whoa, what?
be spent?
That invisible
What hit her?
son would have to go to the Ugandan military.
Why did you put your son in the film?
You know, why would you put your son in the film? You know, why did you put yourself in the film? It was questions about our sincerity.
Why are they saying Kony is in Uganda when he's actually in the Central African Republic? Invisible Children wasn't popular among other charities either. They were hogging the limelight. And they released Kony2012 just 2 days before International Women's Day, a critical fundraising time for some.
And it was supposed to happen on April 20th.
We do not
420.
need a sleek video on YouTube for us to take notice.
Once people started feeling misled, they turned against the organization and squared the blame on one person. The pressure was building. Online backlash and a hectic schedule was starting to take a toll.
This guy's British. He said schedule.
10 text messages every second. It was just...
Millions of supporters on one side, millions of critics on the other.
On and on and on.
Make Kony famous? Well, it made Jason famous too.
Yes.
And the pressure kept increasing. He was flying all over the country to spread his message,
Took the red eye to New York, landed at 5 in the morning.
working around the clock.
On the Today Show, People Magazine, Reuters. By day 3, I was in LA doing interview after interview after interview.
17 interviews in 48 hours.
That's ridiculous.
He was sleeping less and becoming more erratic.
Not being able to sleep, not being able to stop my racing mind.
Criticism from every direction.
Then it was like, you're the worst. You're terrible. And Kony's dead.
They started saying the whole project was for his ego.
I mean-
based on greed. And not just criticism, responsibility.
That's what I was going to get at too. I thought it was very, very egotistical based upon that.
You promised a solution, Jason. When are you going to deliver, Kony?
Much like a certain preacher. That's an internet preacher, or
Was
TV preacher.
exhausted.
To release the pressure, he and his family tried to take a couple of days off by going to Palm Springs. But people recognized him there too, so they hid away in their hotel room with the curtains closed. Jason was starting to crack. Paranoia, delusions of grandeur. He went with his family to see the Lorax, and he thought the film was speaking to him directly. Voices in Jason's head told him that he needed to get to New York in the next 12 hours or Kony would win, whatever that meant. Then, he stripped off all of his clothes and ran out.
Oh my god. That's how you do it. That's how you do it right there.
I was on a street in San Diego, totally naked and crazy out of my mind. Someone driving by in a car took a video on their phone, and they sold it to TMZ for $30,000. And then my naked and crazy mess went viral as well.
Some have said that he was jacking it, and that he was on drugs. Neither is true.
No drugs, no self-love.
Man having a mental episode.
Were you also masturbating? Did I hear that too?
No one who was there ever said that that was happening. Yeah. I'm naked, so it's not.
He didn't deny it again.
Of imagination, but
he was taken to the hospital, not jail.
Police say when they showed up, they didn't see any of that, and was taken to a local medical facility that he was not arrested of.
And there, he thought the staff were trying to kill him.
One of those things where I'm like,
yeah, he went off the deep end.
He ran around in his underwear, kicking in doors until eventually he was subdued and sedated.
I want to see a movie of this guy so bad, just because I think it'd be comical.
2 weeks, whoa.
Yeah.
Later on, one Sharona Reed tried to sue Mr. Russell for the trauma of having to see him do naked calisthenics. As far as I can tell, though, that...
Robot Chicken, yeah.
Can you think of anything else that's worse than running around naked going like this on TMZ?
Well, maybe one thing.
Internet historians
While
got jokes.
This was happening, the countdown to the day of action was still ticking. Thousands of kits had been sold. Get ready for an awareness campaign so effective you'll think you're living in Uganda. The kids rolled out into the street.
People still went out and did it?
And posters ready. Let's do it. Let's save those kids. We're changing the world. Oh, God, yes. But it wasn't all well intended. Some took it as a chance to vandalize their neighborhood with impunity. The adults were left to clean up the mess.
The adults.
And despite the impression you might get from this fancy montage...
So I guess it was all kids in 2012. Nowadays, these kids are the people who would just do it in their 30s and 20s.
50,000 people registered. Real attendance? 50. Sydney, 18,000 people registered. Real attendance? 12. Montreal, 4,800 registered. Real attendance? 0. Instead, they cancelled their event and put up a post calling Invisible Children a fraud organization. This is what 4 million Kony hashtags gets you. Now, I bet you want to know where Invisible Children, Jason Russell, and Kony are now.
Yes.
But before I tell you that, I want to go on 2 quick tangents
but first,
of things I found while researching.
That's the internet, old man, right?
In the Kony 2012 video, you'll see this guy, Louis Marino Ocampo, Chief Prosecutor for the International Criminal Court. This would be the organization that charges Kony if he was ever caught. Well, in 2017, a bunch of Louis' emails were leaked, and they detailed one hell of a caper to catch Kony and bring him to justice. I'm not making any of the following up, right?
Okay.
Here's the plan. Lure Kony out of the jungle with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie as bait.
Straight from a Hollywood movie, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt attempting to arrest an African warlord.
So it would go, the A-list couple would fly to the edge of the jungle where Kony is hiding and call him up with an invitation to dinner. Kony, starstruck, would of course say yes. He'd show up, presumably bottle of wine in hand and ready to mingle. Then, imagine his shock. It was a trap all along. Special forces would pop out from behind the salad bar and get their guy.
One idea appears to have been for Angelina Jolie to lure him to a private dinner where he would be arrested.
It was a foolproof plan, but unfortunately, it was never realized. Once Miss Jolie stopped responding to Louis' weird emails, Ocampo approached George Clooney for use of his spy satellite.
The chief prosecutor had also attempted to recruit George Clooney in a plot to fly spy satellites over Libya.
Yes, that's correct. George Clooney partnered with a satellite company to spy on al-Bashir of Sudan. Okie doke. Anyway, he responded that the satellite wasn't powerful enough. So then Ocampo moved on to his backup date, Sean Penn, whom he invited
Sean
to a
Penn?
security meeting in South Sudan. What?
These people are crazy.
And there were some people having fun with Kony2012 as well. Turns out Kony looks a lot like Carl Weathers in the movie Predator. So
I'm not gonna lie, that's the original thing I was thinking at first.
Post it on Facebook and say how great he is without mentioning the name.
What's wrong with
activists to immediately assume it's Joseph Kony.
Oh my gosh.
Them racist. It was good for a few minutes of fun. Then they tried it on the official meetup pages.
I hope he rapes
Promptly
you.
deleted.
Wow.
And we're back. So get a load of this total car crash, dumpster fire, shitstorm, diaper hurricane, am I right, guys?
Am I right?
Well, no. Despite all the mishaps and poor turnout, Kony2012 was a massive success. The goal was to make an obscure warlord in rural Uganda a household name. And they succeeded.
Yeah,
They raised
yeah.
hundreds of millions on a budget of about $1.5 million. Any marketing agency would kill for that. In fact, 7 years later, you probably clicked on this video because you have some vague notion of Kony and that video already. Now, let me give you a very brief rundown on where...
Or you're in my spot, never heard of it before.
Invisible Children. Outside of long-term and small-scale projects, they've largely ceased operations. Joseph Kony, he's still out there, but his army is shrinking and splintering. He is effectively in hibernation.
Oh.
And Jason Russell. He's no longer with Invisible Children. He's also been breakdown free since 2012.
Good.
But he's still doing the activism thing. Look, I've had to gloss over so many details in this video, and there are so many more questions to be answered. But I don't want this video to be an hour long or to take 2 months more to make.
Okay.
So I'm going to round this one off with a Q&A on the second channel. What about that $20 million they raised?
Yeah,
Why didn't the
where
US
did it go?
military or the Ugandan military ever just bomb the shit out of Kony? What did Kony have to say about the video? All of these questions, and a ton more, plus any questions you may have of your own.
Oh.
Uganda want to see it.
This video was great until that pun at the end. That pun at the end ruined it. Highly educational until that pun. Now I just want to forget about the whole video. I'm not a punny individual. I have a roommate that uses puns all the time and it kills it. No, that's very interesting. I had no idea who Kony was. 2012, I was in college. I'm surprised I didn't know anything about it because, you know, college students typically are the ones that are, you know, all about the newest fad and stuff, high school and college. And I didn't know anything about saving the children during 2012. I think 2012 I was too busy preparing myself for the upcoming end of the world because I believe 2012 was when the world was supposed to end anyways. I was also a huge stoner in college, and if anything was happening on 420, as I was saying throughout this whole video, I was not going to attend it because I was going to be attending my own type of party. So those are my reasons why I don't know anything about Kony, and they're very valid, so don't judge me for any of them. It blows my mind that if anything, that I think his name was James. I forgot his name is. So James, he's got to be very influential, very charismatic. So good job on his part. He could probably have been a leader if he didn't go cuckoo like he did. I do want to make a parody-like movie based upon that, like going crazy after everything like that. I feel like that could be a hilarious, you know, parody going on over that. I don't think anyone's done that. My idea, don't steal it. Or if you want to use it, then cast me in it. But overall, it's really cool to watch. It's crazy to me that I'm so oblivious to so many things that go on, especially something like that. If there's any things that you've been oblivious to, go ahead and put those in the comments as well. That way, since you're laughing at me, perhaps I can laugh at you and have a little fun of myself. Don't forget to like, comment, and share with your friends. Thank you. Kony Island's still a thing? Definitely going to go to Kony Island. Maybe there's some lost children there. The story of Kony. Oh, it's an actual person then.